Hello all and welcome to another YouTube video. This is the long awaited one of tournaments, so I hope you all enjoy the video, but there's been a major shift in tournaments, so this will be a very unique video to say the least, and I hope you guys enjoy it. But World Tanks tournaments have completely shifted in the last couple months, maybe already getting closer to half a year actually, since they changed tournaments, and I can tell you it's been rough. It's been way rougher than ever before. Anyways, without further ado, let's get into this video. So first of all, we have many changes that have happened to tournaments that we're going to be discussing throughout this whole video. Things like the times of tournaments becoming longer, the amount of gold being given out to players becoming way less, and many other negative things such as that. But let's continue on and examine how players maybe find it and how it's all changed in the last while. So having said that, tournaments are way less new player friendly than ever before, and even players that weren't like super players had a pretty decent chance in them, but now it's more so just the super players, you know, like the 9k 10k 11k 12k players more so. I don't even think AKs have as easy of a time as they used to either. I could be completely wrong on that. If there's anyone that's an 8K rated player watching this video, or 7K or whatever, you guys can let me know. Do you think tournaments have gotten a lot harder even for you guys? I would assume so. When it comes to my stats, I'd be like a 5K, so I'm not like that high, but when it comes to tournaments, I feel like I'm pretty good at them. But then again, I don't know. Then again, yeah, it just feels like the 10 to 12k mark is where it's at, where most people will succeed better if they're up that level in the game. But sometimes you can get lucky. Alright, there's just one more thing I'm going to add right here in the video, and that is that a little while back, World Tanks added the Tournaments tab into the game, which you can now see all the current tournaments that are available for sign up, register teams and all that other good stuff. And then there's challenges as well, which you can check. But what I'm going to do right now is just pretend that I'm going to join the 1 versus 1. As you'll see, this does not mean you can just join it in game. This means it'll bring you to the website, but it's one way to just go directly to a tournament if you like that type of a thing. Other than that, yeah, you still got to go through the same steps: join, create, find, all that stuff that you would have heard from my original first video that I put out. Hey guys, I've been doing a little bit of research on my own just barely, and I wanted to check out when this switch completely happened to figure out the exact timeline. And let me just tell you, it's about 3.8 months approximately ago, a little over 110 days, but you can do your own math fully on that. I can't remember the numbers I fully calculated, but something like that. But here's the idea. I went through the whole list and found out stuff I was looking for when the tournaments changed and stuff. So I'm just going to quickly mention that here. This was like the one of these two tournaments here, 3v3 and the 1v1. These are like the last tournaments of the old system, and then it was gone for good. And now we've got the new system, and these ones were done on, it doesn't look like I even competed in these ones for some reason. I probably just didn't have time or something. Looks like they were, I mean, if they're on the 25th of June, I would go to that. Yes, 25th of June, that was the last day tournaments. Those are on a Sunday. I can see why I didn't play those then. I was probably busy on the Sunday. But yeah, this is how the old tournament system looked. If I would actually show you one of the ones where I placed, I would have probably been most likely in first place, second place, third at worst probably. Usually I always make top 2. And then that would mean, for me, in this case it's a 3v3, so I would be separating the gold to each player. So this would be like 1,000 gold. This would be like 500 gold. And then third place would have been like 200 gold each. And then there's always the free XP as well. That's the old system that got taken away. For 1v1, 900, 450, 200 gold. Most people got first place, as you can see in this tournament. So like tournaments, you could tie actually in the old system, which I can partially agree that that's maybe why they took it out. They're the round robin version, like I maybe talked about in previous tournament video that I made, where you can get a lot more gold. This is a tier 9 1 versus 1. So now let's go to the day after, the 26th right here of June. Like you saw here, this is the 25th. One right after 26th, 1v1 tier 8. This was a Monday, started on a Monday. The tournaments got completely changed to now having, for first place in a tier 8, you still get 800 gold. Now you can get, for this is a 1v1, so it's everything you see here is what you see. If you get first, that's 1,400 gold. That's really good. For 1,000 free XP, that's pretty good. Again, that's first place. Like I said, first place will get a phenomenal amount more than they used to get. Second place is kind of like the old first place, as you can see here. 100 gold less than the 800 gold original old mark. Third to fourth place, you're getting 500 gold. The old second place would have been getting around 500 gold, so yeah. And then third place would have probably only got like 250 gold, which is kind of the 5th to 8th place positioning here. But yeah, that sounds, oh, it's easier because you can get the same amount of gold for not getting quite as high. But let me explain some more things here. 150 gold for 9 to 16. Okay, so you've seen the pricing here for a 1v1. Old system, 800 gold, 500 gold, 250 gold, and no gold would have been the case for top 3 positions, and then 4th and below, or 4th would have gotten free XP, and then the rest not, like you saw in the previous thing here, an example. But here's the deal. In the old system, as you'll see here, there's 5 rounds. There's round 1, round 2, round 3, round 4, round 5, right? Would have played 5 rounds. That took you approximately, I would say, an hour to get through the 5 rounds to get first, second, or third, most likely if you've been playing tournaments for a while and you know what you're doing. But yeah, on the new system here, as you can see here, before we get to the finals and stuff like that, you got your group stages, right? You got round 1, round 2, round 3, okay? That's not even for getting prizing. You have to finish these 3 rounds and maybe you get prizing depending on how many teams are signed up. Okay? That means you're not even making the 150 gold mark in this 1 versus 1. You're not even that far necessarily. Because there's, in this case, 305 teams that were confirmed, which is absolutely crazy. Half of them go out, right? So you're looking at 152 teams left, so you're probably going to be in the top 128, if not maybe one more round yet than that to have to play. But this is the very first one. Tournament numbers for confirmed teams have drastically dropped since originally coming out. You got single elimination and round robin now, not just round robin. And as I'm going to try to quickly say this all. So you got 3 games. That gets you through qualifiers. You have to win 2 of your 3 games to make qualifiers. If you lose 2 games, you're out for good, and you're not making any gold. You just spent, I mean, you wouldn't have spent too much time. You would have spent maybe 20 to 30 minutes playing your tournament, and then you're out. If you make it through this whole thing, actually it does get close to an hour wait before you get into your next set. This doesn't go for 35, 40 minutes total probably to get through these 3 games. Let me see, last game starts 20 minutes after the first one started. But then there's of course a little bit of waiting time, so let's add another 10 minutes to that. So it's at least half hour you gotta put into getting all 3 games done, right? If you don't win 2 games and you lose 2 games instead, you're out. That's all you have to play, and you know that you just played for no reason because you didn't get anything for it. But you didn't have to put too much time in. Now, here's where other things get a little crazy. You go into the playoffs now, right? Say I'm the South King Gaming guy. We'll just say that I'm good at the game, and it looks like he might be the winner of the whole thing. Not quite, but close. So he gets in round 64, right? Though he might have had to play a game before that if I'd actually go check here. For the playoffs, he would have had here. Yeah, he had round to 256 and then round 128. So he actually did have 2 more games that won't be showed here. Let me show that. So yeah, he would have had 2 games that aren't on the screen that he had to win to even get to this point, which is crazy. But then again, like I said, most groups don't have 305 players, but he had to do that anyways. And then most of the time it's 128 or 64 that you'll be put in on most tournaments that are 1v1s. And if you're in a 2v2, you might have a chance of being placed in top 32, top 16, and if you're super lucky, in the quarterfinals with top 8. Also, as you can see here, 64, no gold. 32, no gold. If this guy actually had to play 2 more games before this, that isn't normal, but if he did, and he played 3 games just to qualify. Now he's already played 2 games just to get in top 64. Plays another 2 games, which gets him finally into 16th place, and he won and got up to this point here. Now he's finally making 150 gold for all that effort. So at this point, he's putting a lot of time already. Let me calculate this a bit here. So when this guy's playing this round, he's already played 4 games after qualifiers, which means he's actually total played 4, 5, 6, 7 games total. And with 7 games total, he is got 7 games total. That will have taken him from the original 18, I believe it was, all the way down to 19. So he's played for over an hour now. He's played for just a little over an hour, and he's finally able to make 150 gold, right? He had to fight and win a total of 7 games to get 150 gold. An hour of his time for 150 gold, which isn't even as good as getting 3rd place in the whole system of the tournaments. Kind of disappointing, right? Then he plays another game, right? He makes it in quarterfinals, it looks like. 300 gold. That's like getting 3rd place in the old system, basically. So now he's putting a little over an hour in. He's finally making 3rd place type gold. Then he's going into the semifinals, right? And now he's making 500 gold. He's been lucky to get that far up. And he's in the top 4. He's making 500 gold. Like I said, that would have been like 2nd place. But now he's probably putting almost an hour and a half into it. I bet ya. So that's where he's at. Now he's in top 6. Yeah, top 4 quarterfinals in the 4. So he's already put an hour and 31 minutes, give or take a little bit more into that actually already. Like I said. Then he goes all the way into that. And, oh yeah, semifinals. I forgot to mention that. Now he's made it in semifinals, then he makes it into, anyways, the finals. We'll just check what that all took him. Now he's gotten into the finals, right? And his first game, he's already almost put 2 hours in. It's an hour and 50 minutes basically into the tournament, and he's now starting his first round in the finals. But you have 2 to 3 games that you need to put into the finals before you have a chance to get 1st place. And when he's at this point in the tournament, he's getting 2nd place, which is like 1st place, not quite as good as the old 1st place. And unfortunately, he loses, right? Kind of gets the disappointing loss. But you have to play close to 2 hours, give or take maybe 2 hours and 15 minutes, 2 hours 20. I don't know what it fully tops to, but because you got your 3 games in the finals, 2 to 3 games depending on who wins. In this case, it looks like 2 games were won by the opponent, so it was only 2 games in the finals he played. And between matches, it's kind of 10 minutes or 5 minutes. I would say he for sure played 2 hours, maybe 2 hours and 5 minutes into this tournament, just to get 700 gold because he lost in the end with the big battle in the end. Definitely more interesting, definitely more of a challenge, but I think you guys get where I'm at. Of course, if you win 1st place, 1400 gold, even if I put that into, divide that by 2, right? That's like doubling up your prize from 2nd place. None of the other positions, if you look at this, double up at such a high amount. So if you actually play for 2 hours, you both put about the same time in for 1st and 2nd place, but one goes home big, one goes home with a pretty decent prize. But still, remember, the old system you only had to put in 1 hour of your time. This system, you put 2 hours of your time for almost as good of a prize, if not a little bit worse. and only if you actually got first place do you actually feel like it was worth 2 hours to get almost double, or basically double the prize of what you used to get for first place. So really the only one that's getting paid properly for the time that you have to put in now is the person in first place. Everything else is kind of disappointing. And as I'm sure a lot of you that used to play tournaments, I don't know if a lot of you have given up or if you still play tournaments, but that's the disappointing factor of how tournaments have changed in a in-depth talk about it. So if you're interested in tournaments, currently you're going to have to devote a lot more time than you would have had to in the past. So earning gold for free is still possible, but it is going to be a much bigger pain for you to deal with and to do. And in more research, as I'm still on this topic, that was the 25th, that last day the tournaments were regular, and you could win in the top 4 and top 16 now and with single elimination, meaning if you lose during obviously this whole bracket thing, you're out and you're at whatever position you're at. If you don't even make top 16, you're out with 0 gold, and you've probably put an hour or more into it already by that point, and you're going home, you're going with nothing, going with absolutely nothing, and you're like, I just wasted an hour of my life, type of a thing. So yeah, that's the disappointing parts about tournaments and how we're looking at old tournaments to tournaments these days. And just out of more research, June 25th is when that happened, and it switched over June 26th. Tournaments were completely changed to that. And a little while before that, about 2 months before that, approximately about 8 weeks, on the 1st of May, Watt Plus came in the game, where you can make 500 gold per week, which isn't really that much in my opinion for what I would have been able to make of gold in the previous tournaments. But anyways, it came out on the 1st of May, and this could possibly be why tournaments were changed 2 months down the road, which is kind of disappointing. And in that case, Watt Plus has brought some very negative things to the game, and tournaments kind of suck because of it. But on a brighter note, we're going to continue in the video, and I'm going to try to see if I can give you guys some tips and tricks to help you make your 2-hour grinds on tournaments, most likely if you make it far, that is, a lot more worthwhile than just a waste of time and a disappointment. I will do my best to help you guys with that. Anyways, on to that. I'm going to quickly point out this one thing that I think is important to show you guys, and it is the people who get prizing. As you can see here, only 1 makes first place, 1 makes second place, 2 get prize with 3rd to 4th place, and then 3 more players get prize from 5th to 7th place, and then another 7 players get placed with 8th to 14th place. And yeah, that's as many people that actually get rewarded, whereas in the old system, if I'd go to one of those, this is the placements of who actually got gold or free XP. In first place, you actually had like 6 winners on this one, and like 6 winners for second as well as another 6 winners for 3rd place. So the prizing and the more gold payout to more different teams was a lot bigger back in the day, and only 2 made 4th place, and then a bunch made 5th place and made nothing there, as you can see. And there's probably even more in 5th and 6th that didn't make anything. So as you can see, there's like 6 teams per the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd place in the old system that actually made some gold, whereas now it's, let's just say the higher prizing and stuff, it's only 1 person, and it's the odd few. Like the prizing is a bit separate, as Ace would remind me. This means the gold payouts may be higher for first place, but really the amount of players that are getting a good place, like first place or whatever, is way less. I don't know, the reduction of gold prizing, if I remember those numbers we talked about back then, has been reduced enormously, and really just for a 500 increase on Watt Plus, I just don't fully get it. Why did wargaming have to do this change? Only thing I can think of is they felt people were playing the game too much for free, and they wanted to make people feel like they gotta put more money into the game to get their gold. So yeah, that's that. At this part of the video, feel free to pause as much as you'd like and take a look at these screenshots and see the difference of the numbers between the old system to the new system. And as you guys could probably tell, you could see where the lessened amount of gold payout numbers are really kind of at. I just wanted to also quickly mention that after looking at these numbers myself, it almost would appear to me that this is like a 90% approximately reduction in gold and free XP that wargaming is giving out in the new format of tournaments. It is a heavy number of reduction, possibly even 95% reduction in tournament prize pool. I just wanted to put that out there. And later in the comment section below, guys, if you want to tell me what you guys think, feel free to. Now time to give you guys some tips. I have brought some tips. The tips I'll be doing for you guys in this video will be tank choices for starters. I'm going to quickly mention a few of those before I end the video. And hopefully I'll be able to pump out one more video at least before the end of this year on tournaments, and go through maybe a bit of gameplay and stuff, and the different maps and how you can adapt and different things like that. But that will be in the next video, so look out for that. So I'm going to go over the basis of 3 tiers, the tiers that you'll mainly see in tournaments currently, and that will be tier 6, tier 8, and tier 10. I could also do a bit of bonus on tier 9, which I might as well. Tier 6 is going to be, you're going to want to have a T3485, but if you do already have gold, or if you're able to obtain in the past the T3485M, obviously it's a better choice. Grab it, use it. And if you do not have any of those Russian mediums, there's also another medium tank choice that's really good. It's the Cromwell. You can always use the Cromwell if you want as well, or the Cromwell B. There's the premium variant as well, of course, but that is up to you. Both play very well, just like the 85s. So that's your medium tank options. For heavy tanks, players like to use the T150 or the M6, but even more than that, probably the top pick of heavy tanks that you can bring is the VK36.01H. A lot of players bring this. It's got a very high HP pool, pretty good gun, and all that other good stats. So this is the top pick. The other 2 top picks or second picks I just mentioned, and you could just go about it as much as you want. Maybe you want to bring something crazy like a KV2, but you can do as you want, or an OI, whatever. But top picks: VK36.01H, 85M, and then maybe just the Cromwell or the regular 85 tank would be the top picks for tier 6. We'll bump up to now tier 8, and tier 8 is kind of map dependent, but some of the top medium tanks you can bring are like the Kampfpanzer 07 RH, or a tank like the Progetto. If you have that, again, all premium tanks. Those are the top 2 premium medium tanks. Also, I wanted to quickly mention as well, if you don't have the Progetto, you can also use the Pantera. It's another good tech tree variant choice. Not quite as good and overpowered, but still it can probably work for what you'll need. Borowsk as well, actually, top 3. Those are the top 3 mediums for premiums you could bring, but if you have a CS, it's not bad either, or a T44-100. Those are pretty average tanks, but the first 3 I mentioned are the best mediums you can bring. Heavy tanks wise, it's again going to be premium tanks most likely, and 1 tech tree. The IS-3A or the Peregrine or the Carnarvon are 2 really high top choices in my opinion. Sometimes the AMX 5100 can be good, more so for like if you're playing a not 1 versus 1 but a 2 versus 2 or higher tournament. 5100 can be a very good choice. And then there's plenty of other tanks. The 50 TP prototype is another top pick for me, just because it's got good armor and good damage per minute as well, and I always look at the damage per minute on my tanks. I just wanted to quickly mention there's these 3 heavy tanks. They're premium. They're a little harder to obtain within the game, but they're also really good choices. I wanted to quickly mention because I haven't mentioned them, and I would say they're close to the top as well for picks. And that is like picks like the Basante C45, which has really good burst potential with 3 rounds of 360 alpha, though the further you dive into your clip, the DPM will worsen. So unless you're really skilled, I wouldn't recommend this one, but it's another really decent choice. Then there's a BZ-176. This is an overpowered tank. I have not been able to obtain it because I play the game completely for free, but it's a really solid choice. It's got really good armor. It's got the ability to get somewhere really quick with its jet boosters, and it's got a really good hard-hitting gun as well to go along with all of that. So I would say if you have this, a really good pick for tournaments, though hopefully I don't see you in it because I do not like fighting those things. Skoda T56 is another awesome choice you can grab. It's another pretty overpowered tier 8 heavy tank with a 2-round burst of, I believe, 460 alpha per shot, which comes up to a pretty good magazine clip. And yeah, it's another really solid pick. It's got some pretty decent armor. DPM's not too bad for the type of damage it can do. These tanks are not really about the damage per minute, but they have really good burst damage and pretty decent armor, so that makes them really good picks for tournaments as well, if you can slow down the tanks with DPM by bouncing a few shots or hiding. Renegade's a good one. There's a lot more options than tier 8. I'm just going to quickly mention that. So again, Carnarvon IS-3, those are my personal picks that are the top choice, but tier 8 you can kind of experiment a bit. But when it comes to tech tree ones, Carnarvon's definitely your best tech tree one you can go grab yourself. And when it comes to tier 9, as we'll do that as the bonus, a phase 1, you can get that from Battle Pass. It's a really decent, pretty decent pick. Carnarvon's also, or Conqueror I mean, is a very good top tier 9 pick as well. And I've been seeing a lot of meta come out of the M103. So M103 is another top pick, with of course Concept 1B. So Concept 1B, M103, a phase 1, and Conquer, all heavy tanks, top picks. Tier 9 mediums, there's some good ones too, but it's usually heavy tanks people bring. Sometimes the char can work. It's not really, I wouldn't say the meta. Cam Panzer 50T would be more meta, as well as T54 and the T55A would probably be more meta. Cobra, experimental, but you can experiment with it, but I don't know if it's the top pick. E50s actually seem to do all right in tournaments as well. Those are some options for tier 9. And when it comes to tier 10 mediums, I would always say STB1's a really good top pick, or 430U. With what I'm seeing here, medium tanks aren't what you're going to be seeing as much at tier 10 either. It's going to be more so Super Conquerors or a 60 TP or an E5 heavy tank, maybe even a Mouse or an E100 occasionally. And then 50B is actually part of the new meta, so if you want, I would say investing in 50B is not a bad idea. 50B and Super Conq and 60 TP are probably some of the top picks you can bring. I do see the occasional IS-7 or T57 heavy every now and then, or E5 like I said, but Super Conq, 60 TP, and 50B are my top picks. 50B you can clip, you can run away, and then clip again, and then basically take out an opponent. Be extra sneaky with this thing, play it, adapt. It's a really good tank for tournaments at the moment at tier 10. I already mentioned mediums. Tank destroyers, there's actually a few options. Version 4, it's been nerfed, but it's still not a bad tank to bring to a tournament if it is one of the only things you have. But I would just recommend probably the heavies over the version 4 still. And E3 has actually become more of a tournament tank as well. This thing's kind of the top pick, I would actually say, at the moment for tank destroyers in a tournament. If you bring this, you can really make some people panic. And if you put a turbo and whatever all on it, you can make it extra scary and stuff. and unless you get outmaneuvered or something and you got just the right map for the tank, it's a really good pick for tier 10 tournaments. But 50B is ultimately the one I would recommend for my final tip on the tips part of this video to grab if you want to get tier 10 tournament tanks at the moment. It's becoming heavily meta. Not sure if wargaming is going to do something about that or if it's just going to stay that way. But anyways, that is that. Thank you guys for watching these, and I hope these tips helped you out a bunch. At this point in the video, I just wanted to show you a few interesting things throughout the community of people sharing their feedback of why this new format that World of Tanks has brought into tournaments isn't good for the game and that nobody really cares for it or likes it. Though I'm not sure wargaming cares at all, but in a way I hope they see this video and all this feedback here and everything we've talked about throughout the whole video. And if you guys enjoy the video, make sure to give it a like. Also, I would encourage liking the video for one more reason. It might allow wargaming or some other person that can bring this to wargaming to see this video, and it will bring it more out in the algorithm, so any likes are appreciated to help that out as well. If wargaming will take a look at this, that would be amazing. And if they would actually do something about tournaments, that would be even more amazing. Also, feel free to give some feedback below for me to see, or for wargaming if they actually ever see this video. And I just wanted to say again, thank you guys for watching the video. I know this was a long one. Well done if you've made it all the way to the end. Have yourselves a good rest of the week or weekend when you're watching this. And good luck in your tournaments, and I hope you do well with these extra few tips I had. And I hope to see you in the next tournament video or other future videos. And if you still happen to be here, why don't you check some of the videos popping out on screen right now? Feel free to do so. Thanks for watching again.